Hello, hello, and welcome to another episode of The Bug Buzz by Armaldo and Shedinja, a podcast where we explore the evolving world of streaming and content creation one interview at a time. When we are not exploring the evolving world of content creation, we are streaming on Twitch and making fools of ourselves on YouTube. But that really is not what we're talking about today. We are talking about the one and the only SeraDerp. SeraDerp, if you would please say hi.
Hello.
And also here with us, I didn't forget to introduce him this time. I'm learning. We have the one and only Armaldo, half of the Armaldo and Shedinja team. Colin, say hi.
Hello. How kind of you to introduce your co-host this time. I feel very privileged in this current, it's got a warm fuzzy feeling for me inside to be actually introduced. Thank you so much. It's a privilege to be here with you, Shedinja and Shedinja.
It's just the Shedinja show. And I'm Mason. I'm Shedinja. I'm the host of this one. Might not be the host of the next one, but doing it again here. So this is the point where we ask some ridiculous question to lower everyone's standards. I mean, to get everyone talking. So, SeraDerp, what
Yes.
is your favorite carpet texture and color combination?
I don't own
this
a
is a new
single
one.
carpet.
Oh no.
None. Answer none.
The fuzzy ones that are soft.
Okay, there you go. Like the long-haired like shag carpets, or just like a kind of a deep fuzzy
medium
one.
long, just like a little bit fuzzy, but not the ones that we would get like 10,000 cat hairs into.
Oh yeah.
I mean, realistically, would anyone really like the thin and coarse
They're
kind
like
of carpets?
super hard, rough ones, no?
Yeah, like,
yeah, they're just like not malleable at all. They're just straight, no matter what you pick them up or anything. Like any angle that they're at, they're just rigid.
they're just as
They're
hard as
stiff
hardwood
with
floors.
enjoy that.
space. You lift it up and
It's
it
like
is
sandpaper.
in position.
Well, you never know. I felt like I had to ask. We had almost similar to that at my folks' house back when I was like really, really young, like 5 or so. We had this one carpet that was half dog hair and the other half was just like threadbare, rough. Yeah, it was like a sandpaper carpet, and I loved it. And we got like a new kind of woven carpet, one of those really sturdy ones that are designed for kids. They're designed not to be easily to just destroy. And I didn't like it.
Right.
It was weird. I felt like I would always get things caught in it. So I don't know.
I wanted to destroy it.
It was supposed to repel kids, so it worked.
It did absolutely work.
Truly child-proof. We actually, Jenny and I just got a rug. I think it was actually here when Mason came down here, but we very recently got it, and it's like probably one of my favorite investments we've ever made. It takes up almost our entire living room, and it's just really plush white carpet that the dogs have kind of taken over. It's like every opportunity, because there used to be hardwood out there, and so it was like a whole new world to them. They stepped on it and they were like, oh! So now they don't have to like lay either on the hardwood or on their bed. They're like they can lay anywhere, and it's opened up a whole new world of possibilities for them. It's also very comfortable just like to walk around on. I have to get like another something for my kitchen because I'm standing and working in my kitchen all the time, and it's hardwood. And it just hurts your feet after a while. Anyways, that's my tangent done. Sorry about that.
Sarah, you have a cat, right? Speaking of pets.
I do. She just made herself a Twitter account to vote on Lee's.
Wow.
To vote on
Very impressive.
Lee's poll for what game we should play today. She was very passionate about Outlast too.
Oh, what breed of cat? I think I've seen it before, but I don't
she's
recall.
not. She's a house cat, so she's not like any specific breed. Like,
gotcha.
But yeah, she's stubborn. She's a weirdo.
Where can we find this cat on Twitter? What's the cat's Twitter handle?
It's NiddlyDerp.
NiddlyDerp. Now, if I'm not mistaken, Niddly may or may not be a reference to a certain MOBA-based game.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I had
I
my
play
fill of
it
that
still,
game.
but I used to play it a lot back then.
Yeah, I still have the problem of just playing it entirely too much.
Yeah,
So
and spending money on it.
yeah, exactly.
What's your secret?
That
How'd you
too.
make it out? I tried quitting for a
You
little while and
don't.
you don't. Oh no.
No.
Yeah.
Toxic community? Who cares?
Yes.
Yeah.
You like anxiety while you play your games?
Count me in.
Tell me, boy, do I.
It's just one of those games where it almost feels like the more you hate it, the harder it is to actually stop playing it because you're mad at everyone else. You're like, no, this time I'm gonna be the carry, and it just then you
I
go
just
in,
try
you
to
lose.
play with as many pre-mates as possible. Like, even if you only have one that isn't pre-made, they always manage to be an annoyance. Like, they say or do something that think like they are the only ones that are right about everything.
Yeah.
It's true. It's very true.
We just I know Colin and I both played Clash yesterday. One of my poor teammates, Colin, you remember, and listeners, the podcast might not know this one, but we have a friend with a history of being accidentally forced onto random champions that he doesn't play. And that history continued yesterday when I somehow accidentally selected Bard. And
Oh.
How do people accidentally select that? John did the same thing yesterday. I
he
don't
did the same thing
understand.
yesterday. I did it to him, and I
Yeah,
single-handedly lost
John
us a
was
game.
like told
Because I picked the wrong champ.
John didn't do it that bad. He was told to pick Nautilus and he picked Kennen. And we were just like, that's
Whoops.
not Nautilus.
It's almost the same.
But it worked out. Yeah, it's a small little, Yordle person and a giant underwater man in a suit with an anchor. It's interchangeable, really.
I'm sure he didn't notice the difference.
Yeah. But no, yeah, it seems to happen because I think Eric had done it before when he got Talon.
Yes.
And he had never played
Yeah.
Talon.
Yeah.
So
Poor guy.
Have you ever played Ultimate Bravery?
yes.
That can be painful.
That one's pretty fun. It's I don't know if it's still around today.
Probably.
I think I tried to look it up. I think relatively recently, and I had trouble finding it. But I would imagine that it's still
I
around.
don't see why
I don't
not,
know.
but I guess
It's a good time. It's a fun
it
time.
is.
You lose, but it's a fun time.
Yeah, it can go both ways. Like, it can go well, like enough so that it actually works somehow, but it can also go like not working whatsoever.
Yeah, Ultimate Braveries. We've had a few good experiences with Ultimate Bravery, but I feel like we've had a bunch of experiences where someone just can't even play the game. Like, they get full AP Lee Sin or something. They just can't.
We've had
They just
experiences.
spend 30 minutes
It's just impossible.
doing nothing. But I can tell you what. Everyone here, everyone listening is about to have an even better experience than a good game of Ultimate Bravery, because guess what? We are about to get to this part of the Bug Buzz where we actually interview SeraDerp instead of just talking about League of Legends, which we could do all day, but that's not what you're here for. You are here to hear about her experiences, her perspective on streaming not only games, but also art, which we are absolutely excited to hear about. So without further ado, let's get into it.
Eat this, it's yummy. So spaghetti and meatballs. It's my mama's recipe. I am not scared of these guys. I get scared of these guys. Stop saying don't let them get behind you. That sounds like there's something behind me then. Sneaky grandma.
So SeraDerp, we have a question for you.
Yes.
All right, first question. What platforms do you create content on? Twitch, one would imagine, but do you have any other platforms that you are thinking about expanding to?
I'm planning on doing more on YouTube right now. I only got my channel trailer from Twitch on there.
Mm-hmm.
But I do have plan on starting to make content there, but I need to learn to edit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I have someone who's been editing for me. He made the channel trailer for me, and he did a great job. But
Did.
he also works a lot, so and I want to have like a video out every week if I can. Once I learn to edit, that is.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't put that pressure on him when he works, and especially when he does it
Yeah,
for free
no.
for the editing. So I want to learn to do it.
Yeah, it's definitely got editing has a pretty intense learning curve, I think. But once you do learn it, it becomes very rewarding. Like once you're able to sit down and knock things out in a matter of like an hour or under or something like that, and something high quality, it definitely is rewarding. I know Mason has probably at this point got more experience in DaVinci, which is the software that we use, than I do. Um, and man, let me tell you, that man loves him some DaVinci every day. It's just, man, Colin, I'm so excited about us utilizing this program in order to make our videos without any issues whatsoever. And I'm like, you get it, Mason. You're doing fantastic. These are real
Yeah,
conversations that
You're
happen
doing
every day.
great.
Colin, have I come to you today to tell you about how much I love using DaVinci?
Not yet today, Mason.
Have I told that to you today?
Would you like
Not
to
yet.
lay
All right,
that on
then let
me?
me make this the moment. I love DaVinci more than anything else. Sarah, do you are you a PC or a Mac user? Because I don't think they have DaVinci for Mac, but they might have.
I'm a PC user.
Excellent. I am also a PC user, and I'm torn in half right now whether to actually recommend DaVinci because it's free, but it's the animations, which we can definitely talk about your animation on your channel in a second here, but all I'll say about DaVinci's animations is it's node based, which I didn't realize was a thing, but it's very different from After Effects or any of the Adobe suite products, which means that every tutorial ever online is about how to animate using Adobe Suite. And so it's just all, you can't use any of it. See, my only real complaint about DaVinci is that, are you an Adobe user? Or do you like the more free versions where you can find them?
Well, I have absolutely no skills in editing. I have no editing programs. Like the one we're using now for recording the voices is like as close as I've come to editing anything.
Oh, there you go.
We're getting your experience. We're gonna force you into the YouTube world.
Help me, guys.
Our first foray into YouTube was, you mentioned your friend who helped you with your channel trailer videos, but you wanted to learn it for yourself.
Toddy Bacon Jr.
He's a talented individual because that's a really good channel trailer.
I don't even think that we have
you did really
a channel trailer yet. Not for like.
No, we don't.
We just haven't bothered, to be honest. Like we need to get on that actually. Now that you mention it, I know that one of the first ones I saw was JJ's, or Wave Hello's, and his is very impressive. He has some crazy editing skills. He's done some editing work for us in the past. He's just very talented in that regard, or practiced, depending on how you want to look at it. But
that's really cool. I really need to get down with it. It's just learning new things for me is always
editing is one of the more tedious things to learn, I think, too.
Yeah, I kind of know that too, and like over the years I've taught myself to do things like learning, and normally like I just can't be bothered learning new things because it's just like sitting down with it and actually learning it is such a headache.
I feel you for sure. It's and editing is one of the more difficult things to learn. Like the how do I say, like the larger skill gap, like I was mentioning earlier. Like once you get it on lock, it's good. But until that point, geez,
it's not good.
It's painful.
But speaking of picking up talents and learning things, how long have you been drawing? When did you learn to draw? Because I have seen your emotes, and I've seen your channel animation for when people donate bits, which is awesome. It's a picture of your avatar waving. First question, did you make those yourself? And if you did, when did you learn? How long have you been drawing?
I've been drawing all my life, but I kind of stopped more and more as I grew up. And then I hurt my wrist a few years back,
Oh.
and then I just couldn't. For a time being, I couldn't really use my hand at all. But now it's like gotten better, but it will never fully heal. So I can't really write or hold a pencil for a very long time, and drawing was just hurting it too much. Like it's not something I ended up sitting down with a lot. And but I got a digital tablet in February for my birthday, and it's way easier on my wrist, and I'm starting to feel like I'm getting into it more now.
Yes.
So, and learning all the digital stuff, learning to color. I didn't really color before at all.
Did you? It was mostly like pencil or charcoal. Is what you did.
Yeah, I usually just used pencil and just didn't color it in normally because it doesn't look that good on paper when you color things.
Ah.
Yeah, I can.
So is it I guess is it totally different? Is it a totally different experience drawing on a tablet as opposed to drawing on paper? Or did you find that after getting used to using a tablet, it was like back to normal? Was it, or is it too
It's
wildly
not
different?
back to normal. It's different, but it's nice. Like at first, like I was like, I have a tablet that I hook up to the computer and I look at my monitor to draw. Like, and I'm used to like looking down to draw, and it was weird to like not see the lines come out from like the pencil rather than just looking on the screen. But I'm starting to get more used to it now. I feel like it's starting to go a bit easier. Like all the things I do doesn't take 100 years anymore. Like my emotes I spent so long on because I was so rusty at drawing at that point. Like they turned out good, but I spent so long because I've been really, really rusty. And I feel like I've also had to sort of, and still I'm kind of finding my own style again.
Yeah, and I think the current style that you have, I don't know if it's subject to change in the future or not, it is very, I guess, beneficial towards the Twitch emote side of things. I think it's very, like, it's a cute kind of style that a lot of people will enjoy, and so that's why it's, in my mind, like a little bit easier to translate towards just Twitch emotes that people want to spam and stuff. So, and obviously avatars and whatnot. So I think I like your style, and I think it's very fitting towards what you're doing.
It is super expressive, is what I've noticed about your emotes. It's like it's one I used to dabble for a very short period in drawing them. Not very good at it. But I could never get my people's faces to really convey. They just looked like a like a slab face. It didn't look entertaining at all. But then your emotes convey like it's very clearly evocative. I guess I sound like some art critic. It's very it has that pizzazz to it. But I just wanted to say I really love your emotes too.
Thank you. I do. I'm proud of the emotes. I studied a little bit on I say study, but I watched some YouTube videos on what you should and shouldn't do with emotes and like all that stuff and I feel like I'm happy with them. So and people seem to like them.
Yeah.
So I'm happy that they are received
I
that
was gonna
well.
say it
And
shows in your artwork, like the level of intelligence you have in regarding that stuff and being conscious of what you should and shouldn't do, or what you think will look better, I guess, versus should and shouldn't do. It's very noticeable, I think, in your artwork, that it's like at a higher level than I guess things that me and Mason could put out. But
It's certainly that.
yeah.
That's the truth. But
I don't think I've actually seen your emotes. I must admit, I might have, because I have been in your streams, but I don't remember
We
if I've
actually
seen them.
our
outsourced
emotes
to.
do look okay, but it's because we didn't make
Yeah,
them.
exactly. We didn't do that. We
Oh.
outsourced to a local friend of ours. She actually started up her own channel recently, Momo Mochi. She's a Wave Hello's Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
yeah,
So
Muma.
she made
Yeah,
ours
Vicky.
at the time, and we actually have one more in, I guess, waiting for when we get another emote slot. But yeah, she does a really good job as well. We're very satisfied.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, they gotta be good if she made them. She has very cute art.
She has a very cutesy style, so obviously we were like,
Yeah.
make us angry,
I
Armaldo
mean,
and Shedinjas. She was like, I got you.
so I don't really have the classic smooth transition TM for this one. But how did you get into YouTube and streaming, or not YouTube, sorry, streaming and just digital content creation in general? Because it sounds like you, from what I'm hearing, with your working on your emotes and studying and kind of researching um everything before you got started. It sounds like this was very much not a spur of the moment decision. It was something that you knew you were going to do and had really well planned and well thought out, very much unlike what Colin and I did. So you could talk about that.
um, I started off for a while being curious about trying just to see how I could do, but at the same time, like sort of doubting: do I want people to see how bad I am at games? Do I want people to see my gameplays and be able to judge every single thing I do? And also I do have limited internet, so I thought I couldn't really
Hmm.
stream on it.
Hmm.
Uh, but it goes well. Like I found like a rhythm that fits, so I don't use it all up in the month. And they also started making a pack that is like more like I used to have 200 gigabytes a month, and now I have 5. So
Oh.
I don't think I could have been really streaming very much at all if they were still only the 200 packs.
Hmm.
But they just started like upgrading them, so
Thank goodness.
I figured, yeah, you know what, I'll try and see. It's kind of like I'm doing it for fun and seeing where I can go with it.
Hmm.
I also had friends that kept saying, "Oh, you should stream because people like your accent and stuff." I'm like, why would anyone wants to listen to this? So, but I figured I'm home a lot, so I figured I could
When
try.
I first got involved in Billy's community, which is how I found this whole group of people that we've been in recently, um, I
Hmm.
I am not too ashamed. I'm a little bit ashamed to admit that I was excited that everyone was, for the most part, was in some European area because I freaking love all those accents. I think the first one I watched outside of Billy was Fossey, and I was just like, oh my goodness. It was just like I could just sit here and watch all day. But
Yeah, Fuzz is great.
it's yeah. I'm a little bit, like I said, a little bit ashamed to admit that I enjoy listening to the accents, but um also to one of your points earlier about like supposedly being bad at games. I'm not saying that you're bad at games. From what I've seen, you're quite good at games. But the I think viewers really enjoy watching people suck from our own experience.
I think they just like to watch people suffer rather.
Like we
Yes.
The more
that's
suffering, the
actually
better.
probably a better point because from our we streamed Overcooked 2 for a little while, and Mason could not
Hmm.
wrap his head around that game for the life of him, and the amount of chat
Uh-huh.
interaction and people we got from that was like astronomical just because Mason could not play the game for the life of him. So
There was definitely suffering. There was no shortage of
we
suffering.
had like chat with an ongoing counter of how many times Mason would die in a single level, and it was great. Well, for I didn't mind it. I'm sure Mason
Hmm.
minded it, but I had a great time.
There's
Yeah, I kind of figured that's where I wanted my brand to go to, like, or not brand, but like my whole thing, like, rather than it being serious, it's just more based on funny and clumsiness. Like, that's pretty much what I do, like, just stupid things, just and try and just laugh at my mistakes rather than anything else.
There you go. Thus, SeraDerp. Is that where that came from? Is that
It
the?
is like, and I'm just super clumsy as well. So at least like I can just say if I mess up now, like, well, I don't call myself Derp for nothing.
Well,
Like,
you
what
go.
do you expect, people?
You signed up for this. That's pretty clever branding right there. I guess the you talked about just like the more goofy games, but also the suffering with the goofy games. I think my
Mhm.
favorite stream of yours that I have ever been a part of was you streaming was it Night at the shopping one. You know the
Night
one
of
I'm
the
talking about?
Consumers.
Yes. Oh my goodness, that game is ridiculous, but watching you play it was so funny. And you beat it too. You're the first person I've ever actually seen to
I
beat the game.
I did. I
Oh
was
god,
so
that
like
game.
it.
I had to look
It
it up.
was terrifying, but it was also like really funny, and it was very unique. Like it wasn't like something you see everyone playing. You know, it
Mhm.
it certainly drew in a lot of curious like eyes.
The
Like,
art
what on
style is
earth is this
horrifying in and of
abomination?
itself.
It is like you think that it will just like be looking dumb, but no, it's actually the fact that it's so pixelated is so terrifying, especially when the Karens and the gummy
I
grandma
was gonna
comes
say the
after you.
cat
Like,
lady, the cat grandma or
excuse
whatever.
me.
Excuse me.
Uh,
It's actually like from viewers' request. It is actually part of my sounds
really?
now. Sound commands.
Yes!
Excuse me. Yes.
Yeah, see that was a terrible mistake
It's
you just made. Your very next stream, I can guarantee I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna be there just hitting excuse me. You dug
I
yourself a
had
hole.
someone do it the other day when I was playing, I think, The Last of Us, and it scared the life out of me.
I watched JJ also, or sorry, I keep on calling him JJ because I know him like personally. Wave Hello, he played it on his 24-hour
Mhm.
stream at like closer to night, and I remember the first time, like we didn't know what to expect from the game, and I think the old lady popped up in front of him, and he near about fell out of his chair in the process. It was that
Yeah.
game, I just so unexpected. It's like those kind of I don't know if
Uh-huh.
you've seen the other like pixel art kind of adventure horror games that are in the same vein, like 8 to 16-bit kind of things. It's like creative ways
Hmm.
to get to horror rather than just, strictly gruesome imaging and jump scares and stuff like that. Though I guess there is jump scares, but
Yeah.
It was jump scares enough for me. I had a few screams in there. There was a few sounds of terror.
I do remember that. That was a good time. But
It
on that note, we can talk about the kinds of games that you like to play because I have seen you play quite a few horror
yeah,
games.
I think that's all I've
So I'm
seen.
interested to know how you
I
got into that, and also which what are your top 2 scariest games after we hear about how you got into the horror game scene.
I didn't really play horror games until I started streaming, pretty much. I kind of avoided them. I loved watching people play them,
Mm-hmm.
but I didn't play myself. So I was so terrified when I started playing horror games myself. And now I feel like I've gotten more numb to it, but it's so and I didn't want my channel to be pure horror, so I've tried to switch it up a bit more lately, but it was mostly horror games back before, and I do really love them, but at the same time I hate them. And but people seem to really love the screams. Like a lot of people seem to come for the screams. So
I think it's a good
You're
so
like a good vein to be in as far as viewers, because like you mentioned, you like watching horror games. I think I enjoy watching people react to horror games as well, especially ones where I know what's gonna
yeah.
happen. Like I've played through Outlast and Outlast 2, and I think those are good fun to
Uh-huh.
watch for me. But like um what one, I think Lee was playing one the other day that I had never seen before. And it not that it was entertaining, it was still entertaining for me to watch, but like I was scared along with him because I didn't know what to expect either.
Yeah.
Which I guess might be another draw to it. But
Yeah.
I think ultimately my point there is I think it's a good area to be in, the horror game side of things for streaming.
Yeah, I'm definitely like trying to do once a week horror game. Right now, I'm kind of a little bit out of sync because right now I'm playing The Last of Us and I kind of just want to play through it.
Mm-hmm.
But I've had like yesterday I did a giveaway stream. I did some Fall Guys, Marvels on stream. So I'm trying to switch it up a bit, but at the same time, like it's a little bit out of sync right now. But I suppose The Last of Us is sort of a horror game, but it's not like the horror game, if you get what I mean. It's more of a story
Are you playing the first one or the second one?
I played the second one.
Yeah, that one I would say has more. I don't know if I would say it's more horror. It's definitely darker than the first one. So.
Yeah, it has creepy parts. Don't get me wrong. It's pretty tense, but it's not like a horror game.
It's got a somewhat wholesome story to it. Well, not the second one, but the first one had a somewhat wholesome story to it.
Yeah, second one is more very dark.
So what's
saying anything?
Yeah, I guess I don't know if anyone's somehow managed to avoid all spoilers up until this point, but if they have, congratulations, and we won't be the ones to spoil it for you.
Yeah, no.
But I guess real quick before we go on to the next few questions, top 2 scariest horror games that you have played.
That sigh should be sign enough. That's
let me just think. Because I didn't find Outlast as scary as I thought I would, but that's because I kind of have already watched gameplays of it like 100 times, and so it wasn't like that scary to me. But I definitely found oh god, I'm looking through my list of games because I played some horror games, but like I played things like Soul Mine stuff, but it had more of a creepy vibe, but the story is just really great. But scary wise, I find Amnesia very scary, but it's again nothing I played in my streams.
Interesting because
through, like,
I think first of all, like a good point you made is that like a lot of these seem to have really good stories, and I think that's a part of the draw of the horror games. Like you want to keep on playing because you want to see what happens in the story, but at the same time you don't want to keep on playing because it's a freaking horror game. But I think environment has a lot to do with it too. Like Outlast and Outlast 2's like the general environment, the whatever insane asylum or whatever, that's like scary enough for me to not be interested in coming back, but the story for those is what kept me coming. So I definitely see your point of view on that.
Yeah. I played The Beast Inside, and that was like kind of half scary and half because it went between like two different people talking about like two different people's point of view. Like one is back in the past, and that's where all the scary things would happen, like back in time. And it's more like the I don't know what to say. Technical parts and so on, but it gave you like this good flow of like scary, and then you caught a break, and it was more of a story and like a bit creepy vibes and like just solving puzzles. So it had like a good balance between the scary and then it gave you a break and just like did some other things, and it was still like really exciting. Again, like I feel like I like horror games more for like the story, and there's like a lot of people. I played Alien Isolation, and although it was creepy, I didn't find it like I found it a little bit repetitive because like when it's just based off of jump scares, it's I like the game, don't get me wrong, but it's not like one of my top ones. Like it got the alien just gets so annoying in the end.
At the point you're not afraid of it, you're just like pissed off at it.
She still got me sometimes, but it's like it didn't get really scared anymore. That's sort of you avoid the alien, or you avoid the androids.
Mhm.
Basically, that's like how the game felt like it was. And then you constantly sneak. But I also played with Sage, but I didn't in general, as for the game, like it. But it was still very scary. I just got frustrated with the puzzles.
Yeah, I got you.
Amnesia's.
Yeah.
So that's also a pretty scary game. But Amnesia is
I was
also
gonna
very
say
scary.
Amnesia's like an older one too, and I've seen people play through it recently.
Mhm.
Like Lee just played through it, and it's interesting that it can
Mhm.
still hold up today to the level that it did before. Because I mean, obviously PewDiePie is the one who I think really made it super popular. So seeing someone else play through it now, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, Jesus! Like you can see it's aged, but it still holds up at the same time. So.
Mhm. Like it was one of those first few games that it was like kind of new. As far as I'm aware, I might be wrong, but like as far as I was told about the game, like you didn't have a defense, you didn't have anything. You were supposed to just like sort of hide, and
Mhm.
I suppose that's more
Mhm.
realistic. Like if you were in a castle and something was chasing you, you wouldn't go and fight it. You would just cover in a corner somewhere.
Yeah.
And then the fact like the darkness affected you and like everything,
Mhm.
it makes you feel very, very vulnerable. And I know some people don't like that, but I thought like it's a very new way of dealing with horror games. I know it's very norm now, but I don't think it used to be back then.
I do like
May-
the fact that they really leaned into the more psychological aspects of the horror genre, like you were mentioning, and
Mhm.
instead of like they had jump scares, but also the horror was in the design, and it had
Mhm.
gameplay and it had story, and it wasn't like it when you were describing the games that were scary, but they were mostly just jump scares and like a spooky atmosphere. It
Mhm.
almost sounded like when people talk about spicy food it's just spicy, like it doesn't have any flavor to it.
Mhm.
It's just really spicy, and
Spicy to
you
be
eat it,
spicy, yeah.
and you're just like, ouch, that hurt. I didn't enjoy that.
It's a good comparison,
Yeah.
I
No.
think.
Well, I know that wasn't my patented smooth transition, but I really don't have anything else for it. I'm moving quite slowly today. I have not yet had my coffee, which is kind of a shame because it's sitting in front of me. So if you hear me scalding my taste buds over here, that's what is happening.
And for the viewers at
But I
home, it
have something
is.
better for you to listen to. Say again?
I said for the viewers at home, it is currently 2 p.m. If you were curious as the timing of Mason's coffee today. So early
Yeah,
as
it's just,
ever.
I'm gonna edit that out. They don't need to know that. How much of a degenerate I am. But we do have something better for you to listen to than me scalding my taste buds, and that is us finally getting to know you questions. So first and foremost, Sarah, would you mind giving us the 500-foot or meter level, I guess, overview of the life of Sarah, the general life story?
um. Well, I've always been in Norway. Always been living in this town where I live.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I was pretty normal child, pretty outgoing child until uh school.
Ah, yes. Is it middle
After
or
that, I
elementary
started
school?
going more and more uh, into myself, like gradually through life.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I started school, and immediately, like, I had a teacher. My main teacher, she kind of started bullying me.
Oh, really?
Oh, what?
Yeah. Uh, and at first, like, I like I don't have too many memories of it, but when I asked my sister, she talks about it a lot, like how I didn't really want to go home alone or go back alone. Like I would wait for her in the classroom because she
Mm-hmm.
was like a few years up from me in the same school, and
Oh.
uh, I went to school there 1 year. Then we moved and we went to a brand new school. It was in the same town, so there's like a little further up in town, and
Okay.
um, and she moved after me.
Oh, the teacher?
the teacher. She's
Good
stayed
lord.
in
Oh
school as
no!
well.
I was just
She
gonna say you got away from the teacher. Oh, that sucks.
so I had her for 5 more years,
Oh,
Wait, you have the same
and yeah,
teacher all the way through?
yeah, like for 5 years, like
Wow.
to up till I started 7th grade. That's when I changed or had a new teacher. Um, and by then, like she had sort of turned the class against me, and I started getting more introvert, so the class would pick on me too. So I just sort of started spending more and more time on my own at home, and that's sort of where the video games came in.
mm-hmm.
I think that's why. Like, I always grew up with video games. Like, my brother had the NES console with like the old Super Mario and all of that stuff. So I
Mm-hmm.
always used to play it, and I
Classic.
was actually good at those games back then for some reason. Um, and now, and then later on, like I continued growing with consoles, and it was sort of my thing
Mm-hmm.
because I didn't spend a lot of time with people, and I think that's why I've gotten into video games. I think that was sort of my saving point for keeping sane back then.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so yeah, just I don't know. This is a story about my life, but
Yeah.
it's ended up being about the bullying. But it's sort of like I didn't have much of a life growing up, other than I was born where I live, and I pretty much lived here all my life, except from like I moved away once to go to another school for a year, which was just like sort of a fun school year, like you just do what you want
Mm-hmm.
sort of thing. It wasn't like for education.
Huh. That's
That must have been
So I
amazing.
lived somewhere further south for a year. That was pretty fun. Like you got to live in your own dorm and all sorts. Like it helped me get a bit more independent, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And I also lived with my ex in a different place once. And I've also actually lived in England for 6 months with a previous ex as well, because he was also from England.
Oh, so you've been
Been all
around.
over.
I've been around a little bit, but mostly I always end up back in this town. Like I used to hate this town with like the people and everything, but now I just keep to myself anyways, and I have my family here. I do really love the town. It's by the fjord. It's very pretty.
Oh,
Uh,
That's what I keep hearing about places in Europe. They're very pretty. I just have to take word for it. But
is it when you mentioned you grew up with consoles? Were you able to play online with people? Like, were you meeting? I know Billy talks a lot about how he grew up and found a lot of his friends online. Did you have that same experience, or did you have to kind of wait until you got into PC gaming
yeah,
to really meet a
I
bunch of
didn't
people?
really get into PC gaming until I was like maybe 20.
Oh,
I
okay.
was more consoles. Like I didn't really know much about computers. Again, Alex
Mm-hmm.
introduced me to it, and I sort of started playing games with him. Well, he wanted me to play games, but he never wanted to play them with me because I was too noob, he said. So
that's so
he introduced me
mean.
to a bunch of games, and he would sit there and play them at the same time as me, but he wouldn't play with me. So I don't think we ever played a single game together, even though we would sit and play the same game at the same time.
My God.
Like he got me into trying World of Warcraft. I played it for a while, like I played up to like I don't know, level 65 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I pretty much played on my own because he didn't want to play with me. Even though he was the one who said, "Oh, you need to play this. You need to try and play it."
You know, I
Huh.
But yeah,
actually try and avoid playing games with Jenny often strictly because she would kick my ass in most of the games that we play. So,
It's a
like
very
we
different.
were
Well, maybe that was what was happening then.
that's probably yeah, maybe that's what it is. He had reached a complex where he couldn't fathom being beaten by Sarah, and so he was just like, "No.
I doubt it because
No."
back then I like, especially with World of Warcraft, it was my first MMO,
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
and I was so overwhelmed, and I tried to ask him for help with things, and I also tried to ask him like, Dude, there is like this level 10,000 up here. That's just spawn killing me. Can you please just come and help me? And he wouldn't, and I had to ask his roommate at the time
Oh
to
my
come and help me.
god.
So he came and picked me up and he saved me and killed the other dude. Like, I was so stuck. He wouldn't help me.
Oh,
I will say that I, as someone who I just picked up WoW this year, because of
Mhm.
COVID and stuff, I really hadn't. I've been interested in it, but I had never had the time to try it. And it is a fun game, but there is, just like editing, there's a huge learning curve with it, and
Mhm.
it's a good time though. I'm probably gonna pick it up again pretty soon when the expansion comes out. But I have also been a victim of spawn killing, so I completely feel you there. When I was learning how to play, I was just me and my level 40 something ass getting beat by these level 120s constantly just for existing. It's not a fun time.
No, it's
why
like,
is that
okay,
a
it's all
feature
fun
in the
and games
game?
for a thing. Like, it's fun and games for like once, maybe twice, but then when you do it 100 times in a row and you just sit there, how is that even fun for him?
It was like
Do you lose experience or something? Like, are
you get
you
like these medals, like these PvP kind of medals, or like some kind of currency, I think, like honor or something like that. At least in the expansion that
honor?
I played
You
in.
get honor
Mm.
for it.
Yes,
Really?
yes, and it can be exchanged or whatever for specific rewards or something like that, if I recall correctly.
I guess that's why people hack in Fall Guys too.
Don't even get me started.
Oh
That is
my
a whole tangent I could go on.
Oh yeah, that'll fill up the rest of the podcast easy. Colin and I have opinions about people who hack into Fall Guys and what they're like in real life.
I'm
Ugh.
like, at first I'm like, why? Why are you doing
It's a
that? This is
party
such an
game.
unserious game.
It's a
But I guess
party
they
game.
want the crown so they can unlock things. I don't know. People are
Yeah,
weird. It can't be fun playing like that.
I don't
No,
think so.
you don't even get to play the game.
Our friend, we were just the other day we were streaming it with some of our community, and our friend Andrew, he got all the way to the final round, and it was the jump showdown one, and a guy just floated to the center area and floated in the air like some sort of like omniscient god, and he just watched everyone, and Andrew got down to the last person, like he was the last person in the hacker, and he just got eliminated, and it's just like, come on, man, like,
Yeah.
do something else with your time.
I had like, I've streamed Fall Guys for, I don't know, maybe an hour to maybe 1.5, and I had like
Mhm.
3 guys flying around,
That's
like
crazy.
enjoying like that stream. Just that stream alone, like those few games I had, there was like 3 different hackers. I'm like, really?
Even as recent as your game yesterday?
Yeah.
That's actually
I
insane.
thought
We've
finally cracked
encountered
down on that.
a
Yeah.
number of them, but it hasn't been like, I don't think we've got 3 in a row or 3 in an hour or something like that.
Wow.
No, there was like 3 of them. I'm like, Jesus, this gonna become the game now. This is
Yeah,
how
what
the
happens if
hacks
2 hackers are in the
destroys
same
games
game?
sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, why? Why is this thing?
What actually happens if you have 2 hackers in the same game and they're both just
Oh, it
flying
wasn't in the
around and
same
neither's
game,
gonna
but
lose?
it was like during like the little time I was playing. Like I had 3 different
Ah.
people being hackers.
It's a good
It wasn't
question
in the
though.
same
Do
game.
they just float about for all of eternity?
They just
I think
sit
they
there
kind of
until one
control
gets
it
bored.
because it looks a bit clunky, but at the same time, like we had like the ring competition thing
Oh, yeah.
where you have to jump to rings, and I was spectating, and this guy was just like flying through everything, like he was just going back and forward on the map, going through all the rings, and I'm like, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. That stinks. Hopefully they'll fix that. I know they're improving on it. He's working on it. I know it's a really small team and they had no idea that it'd be this big, so they weren't really ready.
Mhm.
But they're working on it. I know now whoever made this has got to be just swimming in money. They can probably just throw money at the problem until it goes away. Just hire enough geniuses until they figure out how to beat the hackers.
Yeah,
That's what I'm hoping
I do
anyway.
hope there's certain things they fix about the game. Like that you can spectate your friends easier when you die, or
Yeah.
just little things like that. Or if you don't exit right away, you don't have to watch the whole thing. You can exit whenever you
Yes.
want.
Sounds like we have the same opinions about that. I just, the number of times I've just forgotten to, I've been talking about how I died and then forget to press the button and, oh, now we have to watch this. Oh, here we
I
go.
also wish you could make a whole, like, a custom game where you could invite as many players as like the lobby can fit. Because I was like, oh yeah, this game you can be 60 people in. This would be great for streaming. Like if we have lots of people wanting to come in, it's like, oh no, you can only be 4 people in a pre-made team. Like, why?
Yeah, that's true too. And maybe because of server strain or something. I don't have any idea.
I think if your teams got too much larger than 4 in the later team-based games where your teams are only like 4 or 5 people, it'd end up where if your friends were good, then you'd have 5 people on yellow team and you'd be the entire yellow team, and then you'd have 3 people on blue. And then so then it's not as fun anymore because some of you are going to lose, or there's the potential to go around and say, all right, well, our 3 people on blue are just going to fight the other blue people and just mess them up. So that's probably something they'd have to design out of the game. But I agree that it kind of stinks that there's no option to just, even if it was just, play with as many of your friends as you like, and it's mostly racing, or like the single player ones like Slime Climb.
I like those better anyways.
Yes.
Than the team-based games.
Yeah, me too.
The team-based, especially Egg Scramble, gives me anxiety.
Egg Scramble and Fall Ball are my 2 least favorite, probably. I cannot deal.
Fall Ball is so hard.
Fall Ball's fun, but it gets so competitive at that point in the game for me that it's hard. It's difficult.
All right, well, I'll ask you one last question about Fall Guys before we go to the next one. Sarah, do you have any crowns? And if so, how many?
I have 1 crown, and it's because I leveled up.
Heck yeah!
I only have maybe 4 hours in the game too, so I haven't really played a lot. I just play it with friends now and then, sort of thing. I feel like it will get very fast repetitive. I also get very easily sick of games if it's kind of repetitive, so I try not to play it too much. Like I just play it with friends to have fun now and then.
Yeah.
I would not do a full stream just playing it, basically. Like,
I think it's a lot more fun if you lobby with friends because you can all complain to each other. But if I'm solo or something like that, I don't see the fun in it. I don't think I even got my first crown until I crested around like 8 or 9 hours played. So like, there's just so many people who are very good right now. Like you can forget it if the final game is Hexagon. I'm not winning that one.
Oh god, no. So this was a good. I don't know. I'm super good at falling off track. Like this was supposed to be. The question was about my life and guys.
It's totally okay.
Well, it's fun, yeah. We're all about
good.
us and tangents, getting to talk about different games.
Yeah, I kind of go off track very easily, so you just have to stop if I'm going completely wrong direction.
It's all good. I could
We're not.
I hate interrupting. I can use my quote unquote smooth transitions to attempt to find a way. Here, let me try and think of a joke to get us back on track. I got nothing. Okay, ignoring it. We might just edit this section out. It'd be easy. Let's see. Next question that we will start with is: does the time you spend streaming distract you from other healthy habits of life? What is your diet/workout routine like, or how has it changed since the beginning of your stream? And this was the reason we put this question on here, because Colin definitely more so than myself, beforehand, like before COVID hit, Colin went to the gym quite a bit, and I went to the gym if forced to. And the minute we started streaming, it became, it was a lot of fun. We were learning a lot. And I think socially, it was definitely good for both of us. For me, at least, it was very good to have something to focus on. But I realized a few months into streaming how much I was just sitting at my computer. I was like, oh my goodness, I need to get out and do something. And I think, well, no, let me knock out a few more. I got to edit this video real quick. I'll go outside in a bit. And then it just became just endlessly like that. And everyone we'd talk to was the same way. So I guess we're wondering what your experience has been, and if you've got any advice for staying away from the computer, 'Cause I could desperately use that
Um,
advice.
I am definitely not the right person to ask that. And I have never been, even before the COVID, like, except from like the fact that it's like more awkward to see family, and in the start, like I didn't see really anyone at all.
Mhm.
I already stayed inside most of the time, and I stayed on my computer because I've always had hobbies on it. Like I play games, or before I did the digital drawing and all that stuff, I worked with avatars, so I always have had something that's glued me to the computer a bit, or I watch
Mhm.
something on it. Like I pretty much used to use that all the time, unless I do something like in the house. But I don't really
Mhm.
go out on a general basis, so the whole like when everyone had to sort of stay inside, it didn't really affect me.
It's like, okay, well, you're in good company there.
Yeah, I'm definitely more on the introvert side than I am in the extrovert side, so I am all about staying at my computer all day long. I've recently had to make myself go out, just
Mhm.
to go out. But yeah, I'm definitely there.
Do you have a routine as far as streaming goes? Like, for instance, my routine is usually show up 15 minutes late to start with. That's usually
I can
a
attest to
good
that.
start.
That is part of his routine.
Yeah, and I'll get my coffee usually before stream, and as the coffee is being made, I try and take that time to at least just sit outside for a little while. Or sometimes I'll do like a few hours of work before I stream, because we stream in the afternoon, so I try and work before stream. I try and get everything out the way ahead of time, because after it's almost time for bed, honestly. So it is, what is your routine like with regards to stream, just day to day?
On my streaming days, well, the night before, I try to go bed early so I can wake up early. Like I stream in the like late afternoons, anyways. Like I stream on Tuesdays, I stream on at 6 p.m. and then on Fridays 9 p.m. So I do stream late, but it's nice to just get the whole day. And I do in general like to wake up in the morning, although that doesn't very often happen. I kind of went to bed at 9 a.m. this morning.
Oh goodness.
But anyways, you can edit that out.
We
I
got you.
like to get up in the mornings. I don't like to wake up at night. And when I stream, I try to sort of have the whole day to just sort of do my things. And but like the general thing I do is I try every time I'm about to stream, I try to have like 2 or 3 hours where I just start preparing. Like I take a shower, I have dinner, make sure that I make dinner and eat, so I'm not starving at the end, which I tend to be anyways. But like at least I'm not hungry during the stream. Like so yeah, I try to have a good meal before I start. I go shower and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's
And then
definitely
I
good
try
to
to like start just preparing everything. Like, what should my titles be? What all my programs, so everything in my programs in order. Like, I try to check all the technical things, and by the time I'm gonna start streaming, I think I have everything in order. I start streaming, and it's not in order, and I find something else that I forgot to check. And I also tend to be late too. Like, even though I try for the life of me not to be, but I've never been very good at punctuality. I've gotten better where I'm like maybe 10 minutes late this time. Before I used to be like very late, especially back when I didn't have many viewers. Like I just sort of, there's not that really that many come by anyway, and that's bad. Like I try to not have that mindset now, but it was sort of like, will people care if I'm like an hour late or do it like? But I'm trying to like be more strict on it now, be more serious, and the mindset in streams in general is always like you should just always stream as if a lot of people are watching, even if no one's watching.
That's true.
Yeah.
Well, luckily we have no experience with ever being late, so we can't really relate on that front.
I was gonna ask. Does any of this sound familiar to you?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I guess that kind of moves on to our second question, or I guess a different question. When you mentioned streaming like the world's watching, even if no one's watching.
Mm-hmm.
Do you subscribe to the popular wisdom of never look at your viewer count? Because
Mm,
I've heard this one, a lot of people say, never look, you can't let that get to you. You got to stay focused or whatever. And then other people say, well, you kind of got to look because you need to know what's working or what's not. And sometimes it's like a confidence boost to know that there are people watching. So where do
mm-hmm.
you fall on that debate?
Um, at first, when I started streaming, I was like, I didn't have two monitors. I used my tablet on the side. It was really awkward. But I used to have like this piece of paper hiding the viewer count. But I was too curious, so I would constantly look underneath it anyways. I'm too curious, and it is like say like it's sort of like what is kicking off, what is not, what is kind of stale, and I just
Mhm,
try to like what it's not about how many people come as long as the people that are there are having fun, and I'm
mhm,
trying to keep that mindset like um I do have a bad habit of like being like not that I uh care so much like whether or not it grows like it's super popular and there's like tons of people, but it's more like if it isn't or it's going slow with followers or something like that, I I I'm worried that I'm doing something wrong,
mhm.
or rather than like it being like about me succeeding, I just want to make sure that I do what fits the most for like my viewers and so on.
That they're having a good time.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
So
I do
no, I
totally
do
get
look
that.
at the viewer counts now, and when it's low, I just sort of try and have the attitude as if there is still a lot of people there, and if not, like it tends to be some people that are still very eager with the stream and they talk a lot, and so it's still
Hmm.
like as long as there's a little bit of activity in chat and I'm not sitting there talking to myself, that's the best sort of thing.
Yeah, I do get that. I know one of the nice thing we just because our friends are wonderful and also just as much of nerds as we are. A
Mm,
lot of the people we know in real life do pop into our streams pretty often. So even if there's like 2, 3 viewers, as long as they're people we know, it just kind of ends up us talking about their day and how it's been, and oh yeah, how's it going? We'll be messing with John, as a friend of ours, will pop in.
mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
it is kind of I like that having few viewers isn't it's almost like it's an opportunity, like you said. Um, kind of out of curiosity, do you look at the viewer count? Because I can tell you that I 100% cannot stop myself from looking at the viewer count. That's
Uh,
like so there's no way.
On occasion, if I'm streaming, I have Streamlabs open, and Streamlabs isn't like super good about updating frequently your viewer count. Um, I'll open up like the viewer list to see on occasion if I know anyone in chat.
Mm-hmm.
But
Hmm.
I try and maintain the same persona throughout my stream from start to finish,
Yeah.
regardless of what's happening. And I'll look at chat occasionally, and maybe I'll eye the viewer count, but I don't like consciously think of looking or not looking at the viewer count really, unless it's
Yeah.
it's for a specific reason. Um,
Mm.
like unless we're doing like a special event stream, or if I'm trying like I'm looking for a specific person in chat or something like that. That's really the only situation where I'll find myself doing something like that.
Mm.
Well, you did kind of mention when you were talking about the viewer count, how you used to, right when you started with the tablet and the paper over it, compared to now.
Yeah.
Which kind of reminds me of another question that I've been meaning to ask you, which is kind of getting more into your experience as a streamer and maybe any advice you have. Um, what is it like now when you stream as opposed to what it was like on maybe day one or day two, right when you were getting into it? Like, what's different? I guess also about your stream? What's different about how you interact with your channel? What's different about, I guess, your attitude towards streaming? What's changed?
Um, like at first, well, first off, I had no one watching because um I started off on my own. Like even if I knew a couple people that streamed, they were more like very casual, so it's not like something to create a community out of or anything like
Mm-hmm.
that. So I
Mm-hmm.
kind of just started off on my own, and I didn't really know too much or how to. I knew that you had to network. I had done like a lot of research on what you should do as a streamer, like not just sit down and press play and you play video games.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I was definitely very awkward at talking, because I'm not really a very talkative person, and I don't feel like I am good at going into like very deep conversations or drag like a conversation out. So that's something I sort of still feel like I'm not very good at, but I feel like I'm a little bit better at least, or at least better at asking questions. Like if people come in, it's
Mm-hmm.
not like oh hi, it's more like uh you ask about their day, and you try and continue asking questions about like what they answered and keep
Yeah,
talking.
make them feel welcome.
That's one of the things I feel like I've gotten a little bit better on, at least. And when I started streaming again, it was just my friend talking to me in chats most of the time, and it was like one viewer. And yeah, so I started off pretty much on my own, and I feel like I'm proud of like the fact that what I have now, obviously not alone, but I have created. Like it, I didn't have anyone in a community.
Mm-hmm.
Like I didn't know anyone. So like I met Lily through streams. I met Billy through Lily again. Is like, and everyone's like sort of just helped each other grow. And
Mm-hmm.
and now I can help people again. Like my boyfriend started streaming, and now he can sort of use my community and the community around us again to get viewers, and like they sort of already get this like little nice starter pack, and they can use our communities to grow too, and then they can like sort of expand their network. So I feel like that's what I want with my streams. Like I want to uh be a content creator, but at the same time be able to help people. That's why, like at the end, I like to raid people that don't have a lot of viewers, maybe someone new outside of that circle. So like, if we continue
Mm-hmm.
just going inside our own circle, like we will never grow or expand.
Mhm. That's a very
Mm.
important point, I think, too. It's like a lot of streamers network with other streamers,
Mm-hmm.
but that's half of the
Mm-hmm.
problem is that you're networking with other streamers. You're not networking with viewers. And if you don't network with, like, if you don't try and grow your viewer count, the people who are going to actually, like, watch you, your stream isn't going to grow dramatically because you're only contacting other people who stream. So it's it's a complicated science to it. Like you want to interact with other streamers because you want to know more people who do stream, but if they're streamers, they're
Mm-hmm.
not necessarily going to be viewing you when you're on stream or anything like that. So it's a complicated balance to try and find people who will view your stream for, watching your stream. You don't want people to necessarily watch your stream because they feel obligated to. At least in my
Oh yeah,
mind.
no, I never want like I know the feeling, because I do feel like that with myself. Like especially when I go on Twitch and I like look at who's live, and I feel stressed, like because I want to be everywhere. Like I want to help everyone, but I know I'm not good at popping up in people's streams. But that's because there's just so
There's
many
so
people to
many,
pop up
yeah.
to, and then I really want to like actually spend quality time in there. But at the same time, like there's so many I want to go and say hi to, or like help or support, or just say that hey, I'm here.
Yeah.
I know I'm not much
Mm-hmm.
around, but I do pay attention, and and yeah. But it ends up sort of being like either like I'm in several streams and it's like sort of halfway. So I'd rather just be in one stream and focus on that one for a little bit, and then jump over to another one. But it kind of
Mm-hmm.
sucks too. Like it. I do feel like I wish I could be more around, but at the same time, it's
It's
very
hard,
hard.
especially with the community this large that we've kind of, or that is already established, I guess, before Mason and I came in. We're meeting
Hmm.
like 15 plus people at once, and it's just there's a lot, you know, to even on our streaming and stuff. I know that we used to pop in people's streams a lot. I can speak for myself at least here, and that with school starting, my ability to really be in other people's streams has dwindled a lot. So I try my best, but it kind of sucks. I feel bad not being in people's streams as much, especially if they pop into our stream from time to time. I know that recently I haven't really been able to hit up Lee's stream, your stream, or I used to watch Fossey all the time. I haven't really been in his chat as much lately either, and it feels bad, but uh, education and life has to come first sometimes, and that's why it's, I think, important more so to network with viewers than it is streamers sometimes, because you feel this kind of obligation to be around to see other people. And not that I don't like being around them, I do, and I really like the conversations I have with them, but it's kind of a bad, I think it's kind of a bad feeling to have to be obligated to pop into other people's streams from time to time. Which,
Yeah.
and that feels horrible for me to say. Like, I don't want it to come off wrong, but when you're in, I think from a streamer's perspective, you don't necessarily want to have to, like, quote unquote make your rounds before you grow your own stream, you know?
Yeah, that's part of it too. Like I'm also like I was really really bad at networking. Like I never before streaming I didn't really use social medias. I I started the Twitter and I felt super awkward and I didn't really pay attention. I paid attention but I didn't really interact with the Discord servers or people I'm in and so on. Like I've always been sort of more of a I read and I lurk
Yeah.
more than commenting. So coming out and like actually like saying things is hard. Like, but I've started getting better at it, and it makes me feel like I deserve to like be part of the community
Yeah,
more.
for sure.
But I
Well, that's actually something I did want to ask you about as well. This is, I guess, going to be a little different from our previous two podcasts, because previously we've interviewed Wave Hello, who's a friend of ours, by the name of JJ, and HitmonLeeVT. If you hear us talking about Lee constantly, it's because that's Lee, HitmonLeeVT, who's a absolutely amazing dude.
Yes.
To get to know. But both of them, as it happens, have a very strong Twitter game. They are JJ, who we know in person, is he attests, he swears up, down, and sideways that he's an introvert, and I'll take his word for it. But he is very good at just being a social butterfly. I guess he's very socially adept, and his Twitter is just fun. He's always, you know, making engaging posts, commenting on other people's posts. He's active on the Discords, and that goes double for Lee. I don't know how he finds the time to do it, but I swear that everybody knows Lee. If you contact one random person on Twitter and be like, "Hey, have you talked with Lee recently?" He's like, "Yeah, he's a good friend of mine on Twitter. He commented on one of my posts the other day."
Yeah,
it's amazing.
He's really like he started way after me, and he's just blown up like on, especially on Twitter. He really knows what he's doing there. I feel like I have a little bit of a hard time finding people, and therefore been a little bit lost in it, and therefore also gotten a little bit lazy with it. I've gotten a bit better the last few days again, but yeah, I find it hard to find people to start tweeting with, like, you know, in networking. And also like a part of like a thing I've tried to get to earlier with that I completely spaced away from, like the whole not talking much in Discord, and then all of a sudden I sort of talk a lot. It's also hard, like, because I'm always worried, like, if I just start commenting everywhere, like, it's gonna come off shallow as well. Or like just trying to like think people, like, make people think that you care, you know?
Yeah.
Well, that was gonna be what I was gonna ask, just because, and you know, Lee and JJ clearly have that gut instinct, like they've got it, whatever it is. But it sounds like you and us are more or less the same boat with regards to going on Twitter or Discord, and then kind of scratching our heads and going, well, now what? So what advice would you give to people who are also in our same boat and want to network and want to post on social media, but don't really have the idea of how to go about it? Like, if you could talk to yourself on day one when you first were making your branded Twitter account and then had no idea what to do, what advice would you give?
Well, I'm definitely not the most right person for it, as I'm still a little bit lost on it. But the most important thing for me is like if it's things like you see people post and you're in there to network, and you're trying to find
Mhm,
someone to network with, you're trying to find new viewers, that's not like the main focus. The main focus is that you comment on something you care about and not just put on empty comments. That doesn't mean anything
mhm,
to you. Like, don't answer just because that could drag in someone new to your stream. Like, it's got to be someone that you also have an interest in talking to, or else it just comes off fake. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you because networking feels a little like, for me, it's a little bit like hard, because it's again like the little bit of me like saying like, oh, it feels like a little bit manipulative. Like, it feels a bit, sneaky. But it's part of
yeah.
like streaming, and it's then at least like make it be about things you care about. So like, if you just reach out to people and you don't think you're ever gonna talk to them, then it's kind of shallow for me.
Mhm,
Rather go and like find people, like look at their tweets and like, oh, okay, these people talking about something that I'm interested in. So I try to stick to that, like write to people that write something that I actually like take an interest in,
Yeah,
and not just like every post I see just because it might get my name out there, you know.
I think that's very important too. Well, for us, the people,
Mm.
I find myself not necessarily interacting a lot on Twitter unless it's stuff I enjoy or stuff I find humorous or something
Mhm.
like that. And it it's I don't know, it's hard because on one hand I want to interact with a bunch of people,
Mhm.
for the brand side of things, but on the other hand, it's hard because I don't necessarily want to interact with maybe things that I'm not involved in or interested in or
Mhm.
something like that. And not to say that I'm not interested in people on Twitter. Obviously, I am.
Mhm.
I interact with Lee all the time on there, um, and JJ and Kuro and a few of our other friends. But as far as branching out and getting out there, it's hard for me to get up any kind of courage to just randomly comment on some random individual's uh, like post unless it's
Yeah.
something I'm interested in.
Yeah, I was
mhm,
doing like a little networking round once, and it kind of stuck with me. Like, there was this person, like it was someone that didn't really watch streams, or definitely wasn't a content creator, because if you talk to streamers, they know what you're doing, and they know why you're doing it the way you are, and like people won't really question it. But when you meet up with
mhm,
random people, like you use Twitter to find, say, people that play a game you like, and it might be like a post from somewhere like you wouldn't really have found unless you went for hashtag Legend of Zelda or something like
Hmm.
that. And then they were like,
mhm.
so how did you come across my post? Because it come out of the blue, someone talking in your chat, in your side. I'm like, oh, I found it through this and this, like looking up this hashtag, and they're like, oh, well, that's one way to find viewers. And they were nice about it. Like, it wasn't like I don't think they meant it as a bad thing, but I was like, well,
Mhm.
yeah, I'm trying to network, but it's more about like finding friends. It's not really about finding viewers. Like, that's not what I want. I don't want people to put me up on a pedestal and be like, "Oh, I'm the streamer. I'm like above everyone. Like, I'm the cool person." I'd rather have friends and like people I'm able to interact with. But that comment like made
Mhm.
me really self-aware of like talking to
Get more
people
conscious of
in
it.
Twitter
Yeah.
again. Yeah, because that's like the one thing I don't want to do. I don't want to feel like it's fake and manipulative. And this person, like, they followed me, and they do actually like put a like in my tweets sometimes or something like that.
Huh.
So it wasn't like any big deal, but it sort of stuck with me. Like, I don't want to come across like I'm just like a salesperson coming like, oh, purchase this, like come here, just join
Yeah.
my stream.
Well,
That's not what I
for me,
want.
even like if I have an awkward interaction or a negative interaction with someone, I'm like less inclined to continue interacting with them. Like,
Yeah, it's got me like very awkward, but at the same time, like this person dealt with it well, like, and they added me they followed me, and like, yeah, like I said, they still. So I guess it wasn't meant as a negative way, but it's sort
it
of
came
just
off that
because
way.
I'm very aware of like, it's more. I think I'm very self-aware of like that. It's like sort of like how when you're content creator, you kind of have to sell yourself, and I kind of am very bad at that. I don't like to
Yeah.
push myself on people, like push my things on people. But
Yeah, I
I'd rather
definitely
have like
understand there.
find people following me, and then like maybe they see that I do something that they are interested in, and then join me. Because if
Yeah.
you have like lots of and bunch of followers, and they're not really, they just followed you because it's free and it's easy.
Yeah.
Rather than having like lots of viewers, like I'd rather have like a few viewers that are there to, or a few followers,
That like care
and
about
like
your
they
stream.
are genuinely interested in my
Yeah.
streams and my contents, and
Yeah. It's always I found it's a weird, it takes a certain kind of mindset when, like, if you can think about streaming as a business, like you're thinking about it, from the point of, okay, well, how do I grow my channel, kind of thing, and you're thinking maybe about your brand.
yeah.
I guess you can call it a business, but it's like when your business is people and your business is entertainment, it's this weird balancing act of, okay, well, how do I think about it like a person running a business, but also think about it as a person trying to make friends? Like, these are people, and it feels you got to come off as, it's, I don't know, maybe it's kind of hard being genuine
Yeah.
and at the same time thinking of things from like a more distant perspective of like having a strategy, but then also not being fake about it. And that's definitely something that is, I'm still learning. I've been learning ever since we started. I think in the beginning, I even considered, there was a brief moment of weakness where I saw like one of those follow for follow posts.
Oh yeah.
If you've seen
jeez.
those.
No.
And I had a 5-minute moment of weakness where I was like, wow, this is a really good idea. And then like, no, wait, no, this is a really bad idea. And I didn't do it, but
it's like sometimes
it's
I'd go into like say Twitch streamers, like the hashtag and all that stuff, like just to see if there's some
yeah,
content
small
creators like,
streamers.
yeah, that like might be interested and that I could interact with. But as soon as they like, some people are like following people, and then they're like, oh, I followed you, I would appreciate a follow back, but you don't have to. And then it's just putting me off, like, don't tell people, oh, please follow me. Like, just let people follow you if they want to follow you.
Of their own volition.
If not, then it's no point.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a really good bit of advice for new streamers. If, I feel weird giving advice to new streamers because we're still new and, our stream's definitely still very small.
Yeah.
But for anyone, speaking from the lofty height of someone who's streamed for all of, 5 months, follow for follow, not a good idea. Anything that is like not genuine interaction and completely loses that personal connection, like anything that's in that balancing act between I'm, a streamer running a business and I'm a person wanting to make friends. If you're ever at 100% I'm a streamer running a business, you shouldn't be there. If you're making a decision that's 100% business, you're making the wrong decision.
Your followers are
It's
just a number, and if they're just empty numbers, then it doesn't matter.
Yep.
Like,
yes,
they
that's a perfect way to
not
put it.
gonna give you anything.
You could have 1,000
Yeah.
followers and then stream for all of 5 people, because those people who just do follow for follow, like you said, they're empty follows. They're not gonna actually do anything.
Yeah, like a lot of times, sometimes I see people like I like look into like if I should rate them, say after a stream, like I try to find someone that doesn't have a lot of viewers, doesn't have too many followers, And sometimes I see like they have like 1 or 2 people watching, and they have like over thousands of people following them, and I'm like, either they're like they've sort of died off a bit, or they're like just, I don't know. It's just sort of like, that's one of the things I'm very aware of, that I've done. I will try my best not to end up in like the whole like, if you have a lot of followers, you don't have a lot of people watching, like where people sort of die off after a while. I would say one of the bigger things with Twitter, if I'm gonna give any advice there, is that I see a lot in like, especially new people's Twitter page and stuff, is they only have I'm going live or
Oh
retweeting
yes,
things. Like
we were
you have
so
to
bad about that.
you have to give a, like, that's sort of what I'm trying to do now, and what also why this podcast, although I was very terrified of doing it, like, it's kind of good, because I feel like unless I get asked, I'm not very good at talking about myself, and I want people to get to know me, not just the streaming. Like, that's why I try to tweet a bit about what I do in my life, but I don't really do much to decide like why it's a little bit hard. But like, if something happens, I try to like tweet about it, or I try to tweet about more than just what I stream. That's why I I tweet about the art. I tweet about like what I'm doing. Like when I was dog sitting at my parents, I kept on tweeting just so people see a part of my life, not just like I'm a streamer. Come look at me.
Yeah.
I try to let people get to know me more. Like I'm trying, but I'm not very good at it. But that's sort of part of what your Twitter page should be. Like, it shouldn't just be you streaming and about you streaming. It should be about other things too.
Yeah.
Like, let people
I
get to
might
know you
frame
as a
that and put it on
person.
a
And
wall.
I think that's one of the draws for us to do this podcast, is that we can sit down with the people within the community that we may not, we may pop into your stream, we may have those chat conversations about whatever it is you're doing, or vice versa. But there's no, direct one-on-one, like we're in a voice call right now talking to each other and getting an immediate response kind of interaction. And I think that that's a nice thing that was lacking, I guess, or we lacked. We felt like we wanted to get that more of that genuine interaction out of people within this community and get to know them. So I think it's something that other people want to, based on the interaction that we've got with our completed podcasts. So it's nice to be a part of that, I guess, to kind of further something else within the community that is wanted by people.
Yeah.
It's nice to get to finally meet people. Like you're on their stream, and you're when you go to someone's stream and hang out in their stream, it's because you think they're cool. Like there are 1,000 other people playing their game, but you're in their stream because they're cool. And we thought of the podcast. It's like, oh, now we get to talk with these people. This is great.
Yeah.
But
it's the same with
oh,
like
go ahead.
I've caught myself wanting to, because I keep like, sometimes like a lot of the people in my community, like the streaming community, and like people that I've gotten to know through streaming, this is a lot of amazing people. Like a lot of them like are my friends, but we haven't really hung out very much. Like, so I'm trying to like catch myself like trying to do more with them. Like, oh, we both have this game. Let's try and play it. I'm still getting into that a bit. Like, I've had the friend I met through streaming. Like, she's not a content creator, but she is like someone I met through someone else. Content creator, like a real life friend of them. And I was like, oh, we should do this and this, or we should watch this and this together. And you know how it's like, we talk. It's easy to talk about, but it's harder to plan. And I try to like lately say, oh, I'm playing this game. Do you guys want to join? And with her, like, I asked, oh, I feel like watching this now. Do you want to join? And we've kind of had like our little show nights or movie nights and stuff. And I'm just trying to get to know more of my community more than just in stream. I want to hang out and actually be friends, you know?
Yeah, that's so cool. You like that. Wow, yeah. Also, oh my goodness, we are pushing 1 hour and 30 minutes, roughly. Which, mind you, includes the content that we'll may or may not have to edit out. Because possibly one of us definitely not myself, has had multiple technical issues. But that's just the norm. So I think what we will do is ask one more question, and then we will wrap up. Our last question that we always ask on the Bug Buzz, since this is a traveling podcast, and one of the great things about it is that we get to know a lot of different people that aren't necessarily within our core circle that we talk to all the time. We ask the content creator that is nice enough to lend us their time and come on our show if they have 2 or 3 people if they would be willing to recommend and just annoy, because by recommending them they're sicking us on them, and it means that we annoy them in their Twitter DMs.
Time to slide into their DMs.
Yeah. So, Sera, if you have 2 or 3 people that you would like us to go bother, then please name them here.
Okay, so you already know I would have mentioned Lee, but he's obviously already been here. He's one of the people I interact with the most. But I would say Lily, because Lily I've had a lot to do with on and off stream. Like we might not be a huge amount of time in each other's streams these days because we've just been busy. It's been crashing, but we talk a lot. Like we always keep up. Like we've had each other's back throughout the whole thing.
No.
So Lily, and then Tank.
Ooh, Tank 86. Yeah.
Tank 86. Yes.
I was waiting for someone to recommend Tank. Honestly.
Yeah, he's the old boomer we get to drink a lot in his streams. But yeah, he's also like he's someone I just rated once, and we sort of just ended up having this weird relationship where we just roast one another. But yeah, no, he's fun. He's a fun grunt.
Tank is one of the ones I feel bad. I haven't caught as many of his streams as I'd like to, so hopefully I can do that before we get an interview done with him. But I do hope to get one done with him, as well as Lily. Whenever I interact with Lily, whether it be in chat, on Discord, or something, she just makes me feel so welcome. So I like Lily a lot.
I will say that I second all that, but also her meme game is ridiculously strong.
Quality meme game.
Tank and Lily has this meme war, and especially when they started off, it would be like it was when I've kind of struggled to keep up with Discords, and I would just go on their meme page in her Discord server, and there will be like 89 new memes, and I'm like, how? This is not how you should do it. Like you can't taste the wine if it just gets poured down, you know? Like, I was like, what are you doing, guys? I can't read all of this. This is too much. What? Stop. And it came to the point where they started like accidentally posting the same memes over and over, and I'm like, I couldn't keep up. It was like, what are you guys doing? So they have a bit of a meme war going on. Thanking her.
I have to go check that out. That's infinite font of quality humor then.
That's kind of our Twitter game, like, period, is memes. That's all we do. So.
I've seen you do the everyday a new picture meme.
Yeah, Photoshop things. Well, then hopefully we'll get to go learn from the masters here.
Yeah, I didn't know. I know I interrupted you. I'm sorry. Did you have someone else in mind?
Well, I haven't been able to catch his streams too much, but he's been very like supportive. Like every time I'm not doing well, he keeps writing to me like it's like just like, oh, if there's anything, like talk, and like he's very supportive and he's very sweet, and he's not really in the community with everyone like Billy and everyone. He's kind of like outside of that. And his name is Panda King Pinder.
Panda King who? Pinder. Okay.
He's very supportive. Like I could go on with like a lot of people recommending on this, but he's like one of those that I've like really cared. Like he's been DMing me when I've said like, oh, I'm not streaming today, I'm not feeling good or something like that. he keeps up on people, like he cares. So
Okay,
and
cool.
and he has a lot of fun with streaming. So
That's
I
good.
think he could work.
Well, then we will
Perfect.
go check
We'll
him
add
out.
him
Yeah.
to the list.
We yeah. Our circle is pretty limited to Billy's community. Like we joined the Discord and it was like being dropped into a sea of amazing people, and we
Yeah.
still haven't.
A sea of
It's just
content
kind of.
creators.
It feels almost
Mhm.
weird to explore outside of it, and we still don't know half the people that are inside of it. But yeah, I will definitely go check out Panda King. Sounds like a really cool dude.
Yeah, he's nice. He's very very caring.
Mm-hmm.
Hence the panda name.
There you go. All right,
So
all right.
always
That's
feels like he cares, you know.
then I guess on that wonderfully caring note, we will wrap things up. Because goodness gracious, this has been a wonderful hour and a half, but it has been an hour and a half.
A fruitful podcast, to say the least. Thank you very much, Sarah, for making time to come on to here with us. I know our time difference is a bit large, so
Yeah,
thank you for
6
taking the
hours.
time in your evening to come on here with us and bang out this alongside our trademark technical difficulties. So
Yes.
thank you for being a part of this, and I've
Yes.
enjoyed learning more about you and learning how you combat different realms of streaming. It's been a fun time.
Thanks for having me. I was kind of surprised when you DM'd me. It made sense when you got stared from Lee, but like before that, with so many people being around, it's hard to pay attention to everyone,
Yeah.
and I haven't been able to really get to know you guys as streamers at all. Like I've popped in a little bit now and then, but I haven't really had too much interaction. And it's
Mhm.
also nice to know which one is which, because you have your names, but I have never really known which one is which.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
now I know.
The difficulties of
and
co-op streaming, and that's how it goes.
Yeah.
and maybe I will start saying your username on Twitch right from now on.
Well, you're in good company, even if you don't switch over our personal favorite. And I guess we'll just end on this. This has been another Bug Buds podcast from streamers Armando and Shadia.
That's one
Who
of our
do
favorites, yeah.
so. This is Armando and Shadia signing off.